Black Ops 6 Zombies is here, and you know what that means. Time to unlock all the Liberty Falls specific achievements. As we spawn here in Liberty Bibberty and shoot a pair of bowling shoes in the gas station, no Limu Emu in sight, I want to disclose that this is 3 separate games in this video because of skill and technical issues. We'll start off with Deadwood, something that is common in 1 out of 5 men, so go visit your urologist if you have that problem. You have to achieve a sporting high score, which is fancy talk for getting at least 300 points in the Mr. Peaks bowling minigame. Fun times! Remember that pair of bowling shoes I shot in the gas station? There are 5 hidden throughout the map that you need to shoot to activate the minigame. So after spending a round in spawn, I opened the barrier to Riverside and shot another pair of shoes on the shelf in the store next to the radio store. After that, I revealed some of my antisocial tendencies and blasted some assholes in the face with a shotgun for opening up the gate behind the comic book store. I have to say, while this map definitely feels more like a Cold War map than Terminus, it's still got a nice town kind of feel, kind of like Buried on Black Ops 2, but definitely not quite on that level. The third pair of shoes got sent to the Shadow Realm inside the groundskeeper's house. I'm honestly surprised the shotgun is even reaching the shoes in this game. Maybe it's just me, but it really feels like they neutered the shotgun range in BO6 Zombies. Being as broke in the game as I am in real life, I spent the start of round 3 gathering essence, or points if you want to be a hipster. However, since these doors are insanely expensive on Liberty Falls, I still didn't have enough at the end of the round even after switching to knife, so I went to the bank to try to apply for a loan, but they wouldn't accept a pinky promise as collateral, so instead I made my way to the funeral home outside the bowling alley. I don't know about you, but I don't know why you'd want to buy a coffin after bowling. Regardless, I blasted the 4th pair of shoes. A question to all of you watching while I'm gathering points to open the last gate I need. Do you consider Liberty Falls a bonus map, or do you consider it a full fleshed out launch map? See, I've seen some people refer to it as a bonus map, but I don't think it quite fits the mold. I think of the Giant, Nuketown, or Classified as maps you get for buying the season pass. I think Liberty Falls has too much meat on it to be ranked as a bonus map personally, but maybe you think otherwise. Finally, after gathering the 2,000 points I needed to get to the top of the map, I went into the church cemetery and headed to the back by the barrier. I shot the 5th and final pair of shoes and, after a second, went through the familiar Dark Ether storyline teleportation animation and ended up in a moonlight bowling version of the bowling alley, complete with dancing zombies, some groovy music, and Mr. Peaks himself. Now the rules of the game are pretty simple. You keep throwing bowling balls down the lanes and every zombie you kill gives you 10 points. You have 2 minutes to get 300 points in order to get the achievement, and you only have 1 chance per game or you have to restart. It's like that bowling minigame from the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man game adaptation. Thankfully, it takes you only about 4 minutes to get to this point, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Here's a few tips I can give you. Make sure you fully charge your bowling ball before throwing it. If you just throw it uncharged, the max it'll kill is 1 zombie before exploding. When fully charged, it goes through every zombie in your way until it gets to the end. Also, don't worry if you throw it in the gutter because it still counts towards killing zombies. Finally, don't throw the ball at where the zombies currently are, or the ball won't get them before they get out of the way. For example, if you want to hit them in the middle of the lane, throw the ball when the zombies are standing on the gutters. I admit it did take me a few tries to get this achievement because it's not Wii Sports Bowling, but this run I managed to get over 300 points and unlock the achievement. Mr. Peaks will also give you a trophy with some rewards, so if you're playing a normal game, it would be beneficial to do this as well. Next up, we have World Domination, but sadly you don't unlock a Plankton operator for doing this. You need to tap into your supervillain side, and well, I won't spoil it here. You'll just have to see when we get there. If I did my usual format of only doing the rarest achievement on every map, this is currently the rarest Liberty Falls achievement. Much like Deadwood, I started by staying in spawn, though this time until round 4, which is how I usually play Liberty Falls. To do this achievement, I had to create the jet gun first. If you want a more in-depth tutorial, I've actually made a video on it. I made my way to the comic book store in Riverside to see if the newest issue of Green Lantern was in stock, but unfortunately they only have Etherella. I was gonna make a joke about the Marvels, but since this map takes place in 1991, I'm stuck with the 1990 Captain America movie. I got nothing. In my fury, I used the jet gun to suck up 4 Etherella figures in the comic book store. Off to the motel I went, and after a minute of wandering around stubbing my toes, I sucked up the 5th Etherella statue on a motel sign. Outside the bowling alley, I reenacted everyone's favorite map that involves a bus in order to suck up the 6th figure on top of the bowling alley. I cleansed the church of the 7th figure before heading to Washington Street and sucked up the 8th figure while standing on a building. Very descriptive, I know. I never claimed this video was a tutorial, tutorial. I dropped down to the freezy rooftop in order to suck up the last Aetherella. Boom! My operator transformed into the statue of Aetherella that you find in the comic store, and I got the achievement. When you're in this form, you're invincible and shoot a constant laser beam that annihilates any enemies it touches. I don't know about all of you, but I would 100% buy an Aetherella operator if it came to Black Ops 6. Please, Treyarch, I'm begging you. It would sell like hotcakes. I would give up a week of Taco Bell for it. Moving on to Game 3 and the final achievement. Bye-bye, Dark Ether. You need to help the scientist complete his experiment. Let's cut through the bullshit. This is the achievement you get for completing the main quest. Fortunately, it's not a complicated one because Liberty Mutual is supposed to be the easy map. It starts with, you guessed it, killing zombies and spawn.
Of course!
Something I didn't point out in the previous runs is that I like to go to the second floor of the motel and have the zombies immediately burst open the door to the room where you craft the jet gun. This gives you a good chunk of extra points that will help you get through this faster. With that, I switched to my knife because it's a one-shot kill until round 4, and knife kills get you more points. Liberty Falls' reputation has been tremendously improved post-launch. Remember when we saw the gameplay from COD Next and everyone declared that Zombies was dead? Immediately after they said that Zombies was back when we first saw the Liberty Falls cutscene. With only one zombie left on round 4, I started my quest for the jet gun again with the water valve and bowling alley. You can make the jet gun in any order, but I prefer to start with the water pressure gauge first because the earlier you do it, the easier it'll be to kill all the bastards coming for your spleen. Liberty Falls has some absolute banger tracks. The Aetherella music, Mr. Peak's bowling music, water pressure music, and final boss music are all incredible and worth jamming out to every time you play. Back to the church graveyard I went to wait for my buddy the groundskeeper to spawn, but when it didn't happen on round 5, I advanced to the first vermin round of the game. For those of you into competitive Pokemon, these guys are like Weevil. They hit hard, but get hard in return. Don't let them swarm you. One dead groundskeeper and pair of keys later, and I had the handbrake in my sweaty, clammy hands. On round 7, I opened up the church and activated this machine and talked to Dr. Pericles Panos. First off, what a badass name. But second, he talked to me about how he got trapped in the pretty realm and how I needed to build a machine to end the outbreak. I'm gonna confess that I wasn't really watching him. I was looking for kneelers to confirm that this was indeed a Catholic church, like the real church it's based on. I interacted with the machine again to let Panos into my DMs, which led to him trying to sell me on his MLM. You can't go any further in the main quest until you build the jet gun, so I decided to wait for round 11 for a mangler to spawn. I may have crafted a mangler cannon in the Aetherella achievement run, but for the main quest, I like to save my salvage. After failing a few runs before, I realized that whether you craft the cannon or not, I tend to get to the boss fight around the same round. The difference is, if you don't cash in your salvage for a cannon and just let the mangler blast the gate open for you, you can up your gun to green rarity and then be only about 250 away from blue rarity right away. Combine that with how slow the mangler cannon is, and I think it's actually smarter to just wait for the mangler to come in and blow up the Radio Shack door. Unless you get super lucky with the side Easter egg and get the jet gun right away, but all I tend to get is a shitty sniper. While killing zombies and progressing through the rounds, I grabbed Juggernog and picked up a throwing axe from the ground. I absolutely adore these things. You throw one at a zombie and it'll go through it and kill the others behind it. It's like the throwing knives from World War II zombies, but better because you can almost always pick them up once you toss them. I also pack-a-punched my shotgun. Finally, round 11 happened and the first mangler of the game graced me with his Nikolai-sounding voice. I led him down to Riverside so he could blast open the radio store because there's a crisis and I haven't started looting yet. One built jet gun later and we were ready to suck. After upping my gun's rarity to blue, I sucked up the first LTD part in the church, the second by standing on top of a van on the street by the flower shop and bank, and the third in the ceiling in the comic shop. I built the machine on top of the bank. Back in the church, Panos told me about how his scientist team were nerds and only filled one canister. Deciding I'd stunt on him for YouTube clout, I picked up a canister sticking out of the machine from earlier and set it down in the street by this Bop It Extreme 2 before placing the LTD in the church graveyard under the Avengers looking cloud portal. Just missing that sky beam. This starts a defend objective where you need to keep zombies from entering the portal or else it'll destabilize and you'll need to try again next round. The nice thing is that you don't have to kill every single zombie, just the ones that are emitting a purple aura. Hey, that must be that aura that everyone complains about. Other zombies will attack you, but as long as you focus on the purple cloud ones, it's not too hard of a step. This will spawn either an elite mangler or a mega abomination. In my case, the mangler spawned first. Allegedly they're weak to napalm burst, so try that rad out, but they still take forever to kill. That's also because I'm an idiot and recorded this before I started running the GS45s. RNG was on my side though, because someone dropped a mutant injection support that would be super beneficial at the end of the quest. After a lot of bullets, I activated the trap near the canister I put down in the street and sucked out the mangler's soul, going back to the church to put the canister in the machine. If you take longer than a minute and a half, you'll fail, but you have to be snorting Ethereum to not get back in time from this spot, even with your sprint disabled. By the way, make sure to pick up the LTG when you're done with the defense step, unlike my dumbass. When I returned the canister, Panos gave me a device that I was going to call a Tamagotchi before I learned that those actually weren't invented by the time that Liberty Falls happens. This takes your equipment slot, so make sure you hurry if you don't want to lose what you drop. When you look at this counter, it'll be either red, yellow, or green. I set 3 projectors to the correct colors, being blessed by having no greens, because when you set the projector, you want it to set it to the opposite color of your device, and red is the last color. For yellow, just set it to yellow. After dropping off the now accessible canister next to the gas station and going back to the LTD because I have no brain, I opened the second portal in Riverside. After a minute of cosplaying as Kevin Costner, and this portal is Whitney Houston, a mega abomination greeted me with its 3 heads. After softening it up enough to make it start glowing purple, I activated my trap card and sucked his soul into my canister and returned it to the church. However, I wanted to get ready before the big event, so I held off on starting the final boss fight. The game does warn you if you interact with the machine a second time, it'll start the final fight, so if you started early, sorry, that's your fault. After buying quick revive, stamina, a monkey bomb, and topping off my level 2 armor, I returned to the church and started the final fight. You're trapped in the church and have to face 3 waves of zombies, manglers, and vermin, with the first 2 waves also spawning an elite mangler and the third spawning a mega abomination. Understandably, this is the one difficult part of the main quest because the zombies are at full speed and are a lot tankier than they would normally be at this point in the game, so you need to always be sprinting, especially with your tactical sprint, only holding out your jet gun when you have a gap to suck up regular zombies. And that sucks because the jet gun's not very good against the elite enemies, which means you need your other weapon. The mangler projectile shots might push you out of where you're running, so make sure you don't get caught. I eventually cleared the first couple waves, taking advantage of my low and monkey bomb and my throwing axes that I kept picking up, and only the final wave remained. I had energy mine as my specialist with the augment that split it into 3 smaller explosives and 1 that attracted enemies, clearing the way and giving me some space. But more importantly, remember that mutant injection from earlier? I pulled the berry bonds and became a mangler. This softened up the mega abomination, let me take out regular manglers, but the fight wasn't over. With no armor, I knew it was going to be close, but that's when I saw it. An enemy had dropped another mutant injection. Deciding to make fun of A-Rod this time, I injected myself and finished off the enemy while picturing myself as a centaur. Don't worry, this down here is scripted. You're probably wondering, zombies dad jokes, why didn't the achievement pop? On a previous attempt, I actually died in the last section of the boss fight. However, the game still gave me the achievement, calling cards, and the ray gun skin as if I had beaten it normally. Keep in mind that this footage is half a month old at the time of narration, and Treyarch may have patched it by now. Thanks for watching this video, and if you want to see anything else, go ahead and comment below, but please, no Gen Alpha brain rot.